Welcome to the Lunchtime Knitter, where we discuss knitting, crochet, and all things fiber related. My name is Joanne, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you will be notified when our weekly videos are released. Welcome, and today we are going to put together two stitches that we've learned. We're going to put together the garter stitch and the yarn over increase stitch at the beginning, and then by the end we're going to be doing the yarn over and the knit two together. We're just going to create a basic washcloth. You can use this to create all kinds of things, from a baby blanket to a shawl, anything really. We're going to use Lily's Sugar and Cream cotton and a pair of bamboo size 8 knitting needles. Again, your size could vary up or down one depending on how tight you knit. And we are just going to do our long tail cast on. We only have 4 stitches to start with, so we are just going to, I don't even wrap it, I just do a fair bit on the end, make my slip knot, and cast on my stitches. So this is going to start as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I have a video to show you how to do the long tail cast on if you need it. So to start with, we are going to slip our needle in our first stitch. Make sure you're knitting with your working yarn coming off the ball and not your tail. And you're going to just knit. Okay, so we have our first row complete. And now we're going to start our pattern, which is going to be knit 2. So there's 1 and 2, and then yarn over, and then knit to the end. And now we have 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our first increase. And now we will do another row. Knit 2. There's 1, 2, yarn over, knit to the end. And you can start to see a little triangle. Knit 2, yarn over, knit to the end. Three, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 stitches. Starting to see the beginning of a triangle, and you can see the holes, the intentional space left by the yarn over. And now we will knit another row. knit 2, yarn over, knit to the end. Knit 2, and then yarn over and knit to the end. And I will continue knitting a couple more stitches with you. Then I'll continue the rest off camera. I'll probably knit about 36 stitches. You can make your washcloth as big as you want. It can be an even number or an odd number of stitches, as high as you want. Some people do up to 45 stitches for a washcloth. Even or odd doesn't matter. If you're going to knit a baby blanket, you might want to use a really long circular needle, and you can put a point protector on the end to keep your stitches from falling off. I'll have a video that explains all the different kinds of needles and how to do that. Now you're really starting to see our pattern where there's a defined space. And those are our yarn overs, our intentional holes that we left, created by the yarn over. And we have 10 stitches. I will continue to 36 stitches off camera, and I will meet you back here when I've completed the beginning of our washcloth, and then we will work on the decrease. Meet you back here. Okay, here we are. We have our 36 stitches, or however many you want to do. You can keep going and make it bigger. I stopped at 36, and you can see we have our yarn over stitches here. So it's knit 2, yarn over, knit to the end, and it creates this pretty edge on it, and you have your pattern here. So now we're going to want to decrease and make the other side of the rectangle or the triangle. It will make it a square. So you have 36 stitches across, or however many you have across, and we want to get back down to 4. So we are going to knit 1, knit 2 together, and this oops, I slipped right off. Sometimes that happens. So we knitted our 1. Now we're going to knit 2 together. And this will give us our edge. So see, we're keeping with our edge stitch. Yarn over, just like you did before, and knit to the end. Whoops, I take that back. We're not going to do that. We're going to yarn over, and then we're going to knit 2 together again, because a yarn over and a knit 2 together are going to cancel each other out. We need an actual decrease, so we need 2 knit 2 togethers. So knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. Now we will knit to the end. It takes a little bit, depending on how many stitches you've knit to. And then when we get to the end, we'll just repeat. We will knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, and knit to the end. So you can see a little bit how this, instead of going at an angle, is going to start to curve this way. So that's 35 stitches now. We're going to decrease again. Knit 1, knit 2 together. So you want to make sure you're picking up both stitches and also not splitting the yarn. See how, I don't know if you can see that. See how I'm in both stitches? And then you're just pulling up that one strand through both. Then you're going to yarn over. Knit 2 together again. This is an important spot. You don't want to knit too loose or too tight. You just kind of have to experiment with your tension. Repeat, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together until you get down to 6 stitches, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so we've knit down to our 6 stitches, and you can see you have a square. So we've knit from this corner, increased with our yarn over. Then we started our knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, decrease, and that brought it back down for the other part of the square or diamond. So you have 2 triangles, your increase and your decrease. And now we're going to finish up so we get to 4 stitches. So we're going to do our knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, and then we knit our last stitch. That leaves us with 5. You could stop here, and then you could just knit your last row and cast off, or you can knit down to 4 and then knit your last row and cast off. We started with 4, so I'm going to continue on to 4. So we're going to knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 2 together. And then we're going to simply knit our last row. And then we're going to cast off. Now we could keep going with this knit 4 row, and you could make it a little loop, kind of, you know, keep knitting the 4, make it a little loop. You could put a button on here and have a buttonhole. I'll show you how to do that in another video, but some people like to hang them up. So we've knitted our 4, and now we're going to cast off. So we're going to knit 1, knit 2, bring that stitch over the second stitch, knit the third stitch, bring this stitch over that stitch, and then we're going to knit that stitch, bring that one over that one. Okay, and that's how you cast off. Now we're going to cut a tail. We want to leave a little bit so that we have enough to weave in. That's probably a lot. And then you're going to take your tail, put it through your loop, and make it tight. Now, you can also block these. Blocking is a method where you make this damp and you put it on a foam board with pins, and then as it dries, it's perfectly square. If you're giving them as a gift, you can certainly do that. I don't do that because it's a washcloth. It's going to get wet and it's going to get washed and dried 100 times. So I will block certain other things. If you have long hair, don't knit your hair into your project. If you knit other things like garments and things that need to fit correctly, you probably are going to want to block those, but I'll show you how to do that in another video. And then we're simply going to take this yarn needle and weave in our end so that when you are washing it and drying it, it doesn't come undone. And you just weave in and out and back and forth enough so that this tail end is going to be trapped. And I kind of come around. Sometimes I'll do more than one knot just because washcloths tend to get a lot of wear. Mine do anyway. I use them in the kitchen. I think they're a great alternative because for a couple of dollars, I can get a couple of washcloths and use them continuously. I don't have to buy them again and again. These are 100% cotton. It's fully biodegradable. Although I don't know how long it takes to biodegrade, but it's 100% natural fiber. There's no polyester, no acrylic, nothing else in it. And I find it works really well in my kitchen. very inexpensive to make. It's something I can do while I'm watching TV. And once you get the pattern down, you really don't have to think about it too much. And then I just cut it off. And there we have it. And you can make them much bigger. I make them as big as my hand so that when I'm washing, you know, I have that. If you want it bigger, just increase your diagonal to how many stitches. Some people, like I said, do to 45 stitches. They're great to give as a gift. Like I said, you can make the loop at the end. You could actually weave in a ribbon around, or a piece of yarn or string, in and out through this little edge we created. Some people will put a bar of soap in here and weave it in and tie it up, and it makes a cute little hostess gift. You have to weave in the beginning tail too. Sometimes I will use that and I will knit it in the beginning. But it's a cute little project. I make them a lot. It's a great beginner project because you're using all the skills that we've learned so far. Knit and yarn over and knit two together. We learned the cast off on this. We'll have other projects where I'll show you in more detail the cast off or bind off. And you know, you've accomplished something. So stay tuned for the next video where we'll make another project and we will learn more knitting techniques. We will learn more about knitting tools, and we will also start to learn some different knitting stitches in our stitch library. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for knitting with us. Have a great day.